take our first question from Trylko with Knightline.
Hey, Coach. 9 players scored for UCF in the win over East Carolina Saturday. You may not be able to stop the offense, but what can you do to disrupt UCF's potent offense?
Our plan is always the same: try to keep them on the sideline. You know what I mean? Try to possess the ball, try to keep them off. Keep them on the sideline, and just try to do our best. Try to come up with as good game plan as we can. Try to slow down a little bit. I thought our defense played really well this past week against Memphis. We gave up 5 turnovers and, put our defense in tough spots. And I thought our defense played really well. I mean, this Memphis team has scored 70 points the week before. And, I thought we did some good things on defense. So, we'll try our best, try to come up with a great game plan on defense, and on offense, try to possess the ball the best we can. It's going to be easier said than done because they have a really good defense, and try to keep their offense on the sidelines.
One more question. What did Memphis show you defensively that you think was effective against your offense Saturday?
They just played well. They played well. You just got to give them credit. They played well. Just, they're in the 8-man front. They just played well. You got to tip your hat to them, because Ball had a good plan, and they played well.
Thank you, Coach.
5 questions with an insider, getting to know this week's opponent.
Let's get to know more about the 5-1 Navy midshipmen. Coming off a 30-27 loss at Memphis, hosting 5-0 UCF on Saturday, we turn to Bill Wagner, who's been covering Navy athletics for the Capital newspaper for 25 years. Bill, thank you very much for joining us. First question, what's it like to cover the Naval Academy as a beat?
Well, it's a pleasure. I was on Maryland football for about 12 years, and, I enjoyed that, but you cannot compare to Navy and dealing with the midshipmen. And obviously I've been very fortunate to have 2 tremendous head coaches to work with, Paul Johnson, and who's now at Georgia Tech, and Ken Niumatalolo. They're both class acts and very open and accessible. There's not many college football programs these days that allow the media to come to practice. I can watch the entire practice if I care to. It's just a very, very open and accessible atmosphere. I go to practice every day and get whatever coach or player I want to speak to. It's just a real pleasure.
You definitely see more of Navy's triple option offense than most UCF fans. Tell us more about it and why it's so effective.
Well, obviously it's an interesting and unique scheme that was really pioneered by Paul Johnson. I mean, there's obviously been option football for a long time, but he did something different. He took the slot backs and put them up closer to the line of scrimmage. And the idea is that they could be used more effectively in the passing game. So that's kind of his wrinkle to the triple option, as opposed to maybe, the wishbone that we're all familiar with from Oklahoma and Nebraska way back in the day. But obviously what it's designed to do is, get numbers and a numbers advantage. The whole point of the triple option is that you're going to get more blockers than the opponent has defenders, and it's all done through deception and blocking angles, and obviously the reading element. The whole purpose of reading the option is to get to the point where the ball is going where there's the fewest defenders. So, everything's read from the very get-go. You can give it to the fullback if you feel that they're not playing the fullback properly. If it appears based off your reads that the fullback's going to be taken, then you carry the ball outside. Then that leads the quarterback keeper and slot back pitch elements of the option. And the quarterback has to read whether he is taken by a defender. If he's not, he just keeps the ball and runs it up there, upfield. But if he is, what he wants to do is draw the defender and force him to commit. And when that happens, it opens up the slot back pitch. So it's really a creative offense. And then obviously, really, they call it the triple option, but it's actually 4, because what you do is you run, and all of a sudden it's just natural for the defense to cheat up and put their safeties into the box and try to stop the run. So when you feel like there's an opportunity, you run play action pass, and more often than not, when Navy passes the ball, the receiver is wide open.
A good read is your recent article titled Navy Coaching Staff Happy to Have Zone Option Offense in the Back Pocket. Make UCF fans a little bit more nervous about going up to Annapolis, and tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, obviously, that is a different type of option football. The zone option is what Tulane runs. Willie Fritz has kind of been a longtime practitioner of the zone option. Also, New Mexico runs the zone option. Navy visited New Mexico several times to learn a few things about how New Mexico employs their zone option, but it's just a different type. It's what Navy does is kind of called the veer option, and it's predicated on man-to-man blocking. You have your blockers are supposed to take out a specific position, a linebacker or safety, what have you. Whereas in the zone option, it's a zone blocking scheme. Your blockers go out to an area and they block whoever is in that area. They're not assigned a specific player. So obviously it's just a different type of scheme, but it's the same principle in that you do have multiple options. You can still quarterback keep, hand to the fullback, or pitch to the slot back. So the basic elements are there. It's just a different way of blocking it. And yes, Navy adding that to their repertoire makes them even more difficult to defend. If in a typical week you've got, 3 practices to try to prepare for the triple option, that's not enough for you to get good enough to defend it in 3 days. And now you factor in that you might have to see the zone option. That's just one more thing to worry about.
UCF has the number 1 offense in the country. Navy does not have the number 1 defense. Who are the playmakers on the defense that you think could disrupt UCF's potent offense?
Well, the number 1 person I would imagine is DJ Palmore. He's listed as an outside linebacker, but he's really like a defensive end. He plays a defensive end role. His primary job is to rush the passer. He's their, get after the quarterback guy, and so he's going to need to have a game in which he gets into the backfield and disrupts. They have a safety named Sean Williams, who's very good. He's kind of the key guy in the secondary, and he, as free safety, is involved with both run support and pass defense. So he's a guy with multiple responsibilities, and he's played very well this year. And then Micah Thomas is their inside linebacker, and he's a little more of a run-stopping guy. He runs sideline to sideline. He's more a guy involved with the run, not as much in pass defense. But that's their 3 best defenders. But the clear element for Navy is you got to get pressure on the quarterback. You can't just let a guy like Mackenzie Milton sit back there and have time to scan his options and pick you apart. So they're going to try to use blitzes and different types of fronts to confuse and come from different angles and hopefully force him to, at least not be comfortable in the pocket, maybe force him out of the pocket or to have to, make a quick throw, a quick decision.
What do you think the keys are for Navy to be effective against UCF, and how do you see this one playing out?
Well, I think it's always the same for Navy. Control the clock, long, time-consuming drives. That keeps a potent offense like Central Florida off the field. That's really the best defense for an offense like that, is to keep it off the field. And we have seen over the years that when Navy has what we call a typical Navy drive, which is last week against Memphis, they had 16 plays, took like 7.5 minutes off the clock. What happens is the offense gets very anxious. You've been standing on the sidelines, and you get out there and you want to hurry up and make a play, and that can play into Navy's hands if you try to get a little too anxious and force some throws, or just try to hurry up and get down the field quicker than you need to. So that's always the key for Navy, is possess the ball, take time off the clock, shorten the game. That's fewer possessions for a team like Central Florida. That's always the key for Navy.
So how do you see it playing out? Do you have any kind of prediction or anything?
Central Florida is legit, in my opinion. And what I really am impressed about, a lot of teams in the American Athletic Conference have high-powered offenses, but their defenses are suspect. And we have seen over the years that Navy can put up a lot of points, move the ball, put up yards on some of these defenses. I think it looks to me Central Florida has a very solid defense to go along with that very potent offense. So this is going to be a real challenge. I mean, Navy, I would never bet against them. I've seen them beat all sorts of schools, very good schools over the years. So, I would never count out Navy. They've won 17 straight at home. But, this is a tough one. If they win, it's an upset, obviously.
All righty, Bill, thank you very much for taking time out of your day and joining us. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
There are so many ways to connect with Knightline. You can like us on Facebook at Knightline Podcast or follow us on Twitter at UCF_Knightline. Check out our website at www.ucfnightlinepodcast.com for recruit spotlights, archived episodes, and more. Or, of course, you can always call us at 407-401-9184. That's 407-401-9184. Listen whenever and wherever you are on YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, or tune in. Go Knights and charge on!